Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have the unfiltered, uncomfortable, uncomfortable conversation. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. I am your host, Jay Luke, and I am the owner of the Passionate Network and the host of Talk That Talk. Also, please make sure that you go to www.realtalkthattalk.com. You can pick up any piece of our merchandise. Remember, you get 30% off your total purchase. Just type in the code HBCU band. Hey, we are back. We are back. It has been a while since we have been here. We took the month of July off, and a lot of things have happened since then. So first off, I want to kick it off like this. A couple of announcements, the things that are coming up. National Battle of the Bands. If you all know, if you don't know, if you're just tuning in, if you have no clue, National Battle of the Bands, August 26th, you got to make sure you're going to be in the building, man. There's going to be a lot of stuff going down. And guess who's going to be in the building? We're going to be in the building. Well, Portia got a thing. She's going to be in the building anyway because, Norfolk State going to be there. So she got to be in the building. But myself, as well as Quan, is going to be in the building. So you got to make sure that you all go check out the National Battle of the Bands. Also, another great thing that's going on, or another great thing that has happened, we have to go ahead and show love to somebody very near and dear, not only to my heart, but to the Passionate Network and Talk That Talk and the band family around the world, Dr. O'Neal Sanford. Dr. O'Neal Sanford is going to be honored by the University of Minnesota Marching Band. The University of Minnesota Marching Band, in partnership with the College of Liberal Arts Dream Initiative, is proud to welcome former marching band director Dr. O'Neal Sanford back to the field for the first halftime show of the 2023 season. And I'm just kind of reading what they posted up. Hired in 1976, Dr. Sanford was the first. You see, I had to say it like I'm online or something, or I just got finished pledging AKA or Alpha, which obviously I am a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. But anyway, Dr. Sanford was the first African-American band director in the Big Ten and at any predominantly white institution. The Pride of Minnesota will play musical arrangements by Dr. Sanford to honor his contributions to the University of Minnesota and the nation. So big shout outs to Dr. Sanford. Most definitely, man, he is one that should be honored. 100%. We will not take that away from him. So shout out to Dr. Sanford once again. Another big announcement. So first of all, before we go on this rant of big announcements, what I do want to say is congratulations to every single person who has gotten a new gig. A lot of people have started school. One of the main reasons why I'm pretty sure why Quan is not right here right now, because he has started school, he has started band camp. Things have been going a little crazy in HISD, and hopefully if he comes in specific time, he'll be able to explain some of the things. But HISD right now is just going through a lot of stuff, and my brother is holding on to it, so I'm very proud of him and the work that he's doing. But again, congratulations to everyone who has traversed new band programs or new positions. But I do want to say shout out to our brother, Charles Connor, for his position as the assistant band director at North Carolina. What did I say, North Carolina? Good God, man, I am all jacked up. My bad. Malik back there laughing at me. Malik backstage, he laughing at me. My bad. I did not. I don't know how I said North Carolina. Alabama AMU. Good gosh. You know what? If I had a dump button on this thing right now, I would use it, but I don't have that. My bad. But anyway, congratulations to our guy Chuck, man. He is new assistant band director at Alabama AMU. The funny thing about that is, me and him had conversed about it a long time ago, and it was my job to keep it a secret. So let me go ahead and break it down to you. Chuck was supposed to start a new show on the network. It was called Band and Breakfast for a lot of you all who do not remember. And so many times we have posted it up and we kind of hinted at it. Well, one of the reasons why I didn't start is because of the fact of this particular thing that was going on. He was preparing himself to go into the next level. And because of that, he made it an executive decision, and we both agreed that it probably would not be in the best interest for him to start their show as he's moving into this next position. So, hey, one thing led to another, and he made the decision. And I said, hey, I am supporting you. The family is going to support you. So again, shout out to our brother Chuck, man. I look forward to the great things that he is going to be doing at Alabama A&M University. All right, man. So that was my big spiel, my big rant. Today we have some really interesting things going on today. It's really, really good to be back. I really missed being here and just being able to have conversations with people. And so today I want to just go ahead and jump right into it. You may see some things that may change on this show, and it's perfectly okay. I've made some decisions as far as how I want to continue to run and do the show, and that's perfectly cool. I'm looking forward to the new changes and you all taking place in some of those new changes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and move forward what we have going on today. Let me pull up all my stuff here because I'm ready to go now. All right. Boom, boom, and boom. All right. So let's jump into it. Videographers have jumped on the scene and in the HBCU band world, and they're kind of here to stay. Whether we realize it or not, or whether we like it or not, the videographers are here to stay. But did the sudden rise of videographers help or hurt the HBCU band community? I mean, has it caused band directors to work harder in the name of trying to keep up with social trends? Or do they all go hand in hand? One hand washes the other. So today we're going to talk about it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And before we do that, I want to go ahead and look at this clip. Not like that, though. Hold up. All right. So I wanted to go ahead and take a look at that clip, but I also want to talk about that clip. And we have two people backstage who are going to help us talk about this clip and also have the conversation. And we're going to have one more who's going to be joining us right around 8 o'clock. So the first person I'm gonna go ahead and bring on is no stranger to this channel. He stays in the chat, but today he ain't gonna be in the chat. He gonna be on camera. We got him right here, Malik. Love Me Videos. Oh, dang it. Why did that do that? I have no idea why that did that. I've been trying to change my settings. There we go. What's going on, brother? You on the mute, then you turn your own camera. How did you do that?
All right, I'm here. What's up, Luke?
Man, ain't nothing at all, man. We just chilling, maxing and relaxing and trying to keep this thing going, man. How you doing?
Hey, man, blessed by the best, man.
Absolutely. All right, and then also joining us today, we have the one and only A1 Media. Let's welcome him to the show. What's going on?
What's going on?
Man, so first off, nice setup.
Thank you.
Setup. What kind of camera are you using?
The A7C.
Gotcha.
Camera I shoot with.
Got you. Well, there he goes. That answers all my questions right there. So would you prefer that we just go ahead and hit you with the A1 Media, or would you prefer your real name?
You can use A1 Media.
Gotcha.
I mean, my real name's Darren, so.
Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure, I want to respect everybody's little things and their little quirks, man. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into this. Justin actually will be joining us later. As everybody knows, he is with Smash Time. So my first question, actually, right off the gate, right off the back, man, just looking at that video, and obviously we all know that camera quality has changed over the years, but other than that, what are your thoughts on just the way or the way that video was presented? Malik, go first.
I grew up on that type of stuff, man. So um I got into like watching band footage like around 1999, my freshman year in high school. And that's what watching band tapes looked like for me. And just seeing where it's at now. I mean, obviously the camera quality is just greater, and then the audio, just it's been taken to like another level. You put it on Bluetooth in your car, and then it's just booming through the speakers. It's almost like feeling like you're there. So footage has came a long way. Covering bands has came a long way. So everything has kind of like evolved as far as the whole technology stratosphere. So that's how I feel about it.
A1, what about yourself? What did you feel about the video?
I thought it was dope. Like, pretty much, I didn't even start with video. I started with MP3s. So the fifth quarter, Showtime Mag. So I didn't get to the video till like high school, like 2002. So that's when like YouTube came about, and then I found out about Killer Kev, like all the OG videographers. But I mean, it's come a long way. I mean, I'm new to the game, so I've only been doing this like 2 years, so I observed more than like I've recorded. So that was kind of interesting, coming from like a viewer watching Lamik stuff, watching Killer Kev stuff, watching Smash Time stuff, to putting out content myself.
All right. And so and you actually brought up something I did want to ask you, man. Like what you came up, you said like 2 years ago, man. What made you actually specifically want to jump into the game?
I thought I could just bring something different. Like, I mean, everything just kind of happened. Like, matter of fact, I talked to Lamik at one of the high school games, and it was just like, well, let me take my camera out, see what happens.
Okay. All right. And let me really talk about you for a second, Lamik, because I've had the conversation with you not too long ago about you actually starting to do the recording thing, but you were collecting old videos at one time. How you get your hands on some of them videos, man? I done seen some videos in your book that I have never seen.
Yeah, man. I started out as a tape collector, obviously, in 1999, and how that started, I logged on to the fifth quarter, and if you probably didn't get into band till like 2002, you never knew there was a tape trade forum on the fifth quarter, and so I got in there, man, and my high school band director had like this picture of like FAMU French horns like holding one in the Rattler formation, and I was like, yo, who's that? Like, I ain't never seen them before, because at that time all I had seen was like Morris Brown and Clark. So then I go on the fifth quarter, like, I want to see the school. So I found this dude named Stanley Holloway. He works at Edward Waters now, Dr. Stanley Holloway.
Yeah, I'm about to say, why the man name got to be Stan? I don't know.
So I think his screen name was like Evil Dr. Porkchop at the time, and I was like, yo, man, I'm trying to get on some FAMU footage. So he was like, here go my address. You send me, some redan footage you got. And so I sent him that, and he sent me some footage, and then on Gerard's site, blackcollegebands.com, he had a forum called The Bands All Here. And I got on that like 1999, and I just started seeing people like talk about like random schools, and there was this dude on there called Capadog, and he had footage. So he sent me FAMU Southern 99, Stan sent me FAMU South Carolina State 1998, and some Stevenson footage. And it seemed like with just those two tapes, it just started. Like, folks asking for this. I was like, hey, I got this. So I did that for like the first 3 years that I was on the fifth quarter. And then Christy and Mike, they shut down the tape trade for them because people were coming on there selling, the footage, and she didn't like the idea of, bands. We were pimping bands, so to speak. So she cut that out. We kind of went over to Showtime Mag, but it wasn't to the same effect as the fifth quarter with trying to get footage. But since then, man, it was just relationships, man. I asked my band director for tapes at the time. He was a Morris Brown drum major. So that's how I got all that old Morris Brown footage. Then later on, I met DJ, the video master. He introduced me to Tape Master. So those are like the two big dudes like in the tape game. Like, people think I got like a lot of footage, man, but you go over their house and you like, damn, like you looking all over the walls, in the drawers, in the kitchen. It's like tapes everywhere. And I ain't got shit like that, man. But that's how I got like started with getting like all that footage, man, and then just kept collecting. And like even to this day, man, me and Ryan, Tape Master, we hook up, man, and he got footage I ain't never seen, and then I'll come up on some footage like I did this summer, and then I'm like, hey man, I got this now, and then we still run the DVD thing, man. So that's how I got into the tape game.
Yeah, man. I mean, you mentioned Tape Master, and as we all know, Tape Master, the legend, completely the legend. He has managed to allow me to go back in time to look at some of my old stuff, not even necessarily from Norfolk State, but from Willow Ridge. And so yeah, Tape Master is the king. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next question. And just to put it out there, I may ask questions that may ruffle some feathers. Just be ready for it, answer them as best you can, and we're gonna go on. So you were actually talking about some of the older things and some of the ways that people were able to trade these tapes. But some bands did their own recording back in the day, and then randomly out of nowhere, boom, the videographers came out, and like no one was prepared for this. But then so like out of the world of like bands recording themselves back in the 90s and the early 2000s, or just randomly somebody coming up with a camcorder, right? So when the videographers came out, would you say that this was a way to jump on a growing trend?
Nah, I wouldn't say so. I think it was just all about like telling a story, documenting history. It like back then it was only like a few of us like out there like doing this thing, and I kind of get where you're going at. Like it's a trend now, but I just think more people just kind of want to like tell that story, get some unsung heroes, stories told or whatnot. But yeah, that's all I got on them.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much of a trend. I think some people might want to do it for views or likes or the clout, but once you start investing and once you see how much cameras cost, it's not a trend. Like, because when folks ask me like, what kind of camera you use, what kind of audio setup you got, when I send it, it's like, anything cheaper? Not really. So I mean, I get where you're going, but I think really it's necessary, because one reason why I got into it when I was at Cookman, I couldn't find a lot of footage unless somebody came down. 8 to 5 used to come down, or like we ended up at a battle of the bands where somebody was recording. So I think more it's just about exposure. Like, I mean, some schools they're starting to get their media teams up, but still, like even if they might choose to hold on to footage, like people just want to see their people. Parents want to see their kids, and I mean, it's not so much about trying to go, I don't know, like overstep your boundaries, like because I respect the boundaries of the programs, but I think as long as it's respectful, like, and you're just documenting what's happening, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah. And you're saying something that I was going to hit on something else, but I actually want to go kind of dive a little deeper into that thought process. You basically said when you went to Cookman there was not a lot of footage, and I think that we have that same issue too at Norfolk State. And just to kind of give some kind of history on that, Steve Foster, Gig Steve was his name at the time, was one of the people who recorded Norfolk State quite often. Like he was our videographer. And many times after a show, after we did whatever our show that we did, we would go inside of the band room. On the next week, we would watch the footage and so on and so forth. But all that footage ended up being locked up inside of a room until Steve made a season DVD. Or when I took over, I started making the season DVDs. Dr. Sanford's idea was to continue to flow money to the Spartan Legion through the DVDs and through DVD sales. Do you feel like the fact that videographers are recording this stuff and now putting it out for free is taking away from the possible monetary aspect that band programs could receive?
I don't think it's taken away. Like if they have their own like socials and channels, like people are still gonna watch, you know, the school stuff. Like Jackson Southern, like their videos are gonna get views regardless. Cause, you know, that's the school's media. Like they're gonna support it. I mean, screen went to sleep. But like even at Cookman, we put out like season DVDs, but I mean, I think now it's just hard to regulate that because my first time here in Cookman was on the CD they put out in 2001, but it was one somebody burnt, so they didn't buy it. So it's, you know, it's a double-edged sword.
And there's some truth to what you were saying, and I'm still gonna kind of go against you on one thing you said, but there's some truth to what you're saying. I remember when I spent hours cutting the South Carolina State Norfolk State battle that we did in the gym that year. I think it was 08, 09. I can't remember. The David and Goliath battle. I spent hours getting footage that we recorded, that they recorded, you know, doing my crosses, all that, putting all that stuff together, throwing it on the DVD, burning multiple DVDs for it to be sold. And one day, I think it was, I want to say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I popped up on YouTube and I see my DVD on YouTube. I'm like, bro, like y'all could just go buy the DVD. So you're saying some truth, because I know that people bought that and just burnt it, right? It was very similar to the same one that I did when we played North Carolina A&T. I did the same thing. And then next thing you know, people were buying the DVD, but a couple of years later, people were just burning the DVD. So I think there's some truth to what you're saying in the fact that, you know, people are people, right? They're still going to find a way. But I kind of want to go against something that you said, in the fact that because people have their own media teams, most people will kind of gravitate towards that program. I don't necessarily agree to that. And the reason why I say that is because Southern, yes. I mean, by far, we know that Garrett and Southern, I mean, he's kind of the GOAT in this game as it relates to the upgradedness of the videography, right? But you, Justin, Killer Kev, like most people are gonna go to them first than they would, you know, that media team at that school. I know, and this is, you know, just being a person from the Legion, I know that I really would look for something maybe from Justin before I would look from Norfolk, but Norfolk just kind of has a hold on it because don't nobody go out to Norfolk like that, you know, except for Norfolk. But when we talking about big name program, I ain't gonna say Norfolk any big name, but we all know that there's the top 5. But you know, when we're talking about them, most people are going out to them, and most people are like, I'm gonna go check out Smash Time Video first. I'm gonna go check out A1. I don't know if Showtime joint working or sounds great, but I gotta check out Killer Kev. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of think that most people probably wouldn't gravitate to that school's media team.
Yeah. And then just to kind of add on, I think you saw like, was it maybe like 2014 to maybe 2020, like guys were like shooting like the stingettes and going viral or whatnot, and then there was a limit placed on videographers gravitating to that university to record. And then all of a sudden, Bama State drops their media team, and then boom, they got the exclusive shots and angles, the Stingettes, the rest of the band. So I think that definitely, somebody probably saw like, hey, they're getting all these views on so and so filming from this angle. Let's go ahead and try to, bring that back home, so to speak. So I think
Now,
that might have been the other angle you might have been coming from, Luke.
Yeah.
yeah, and I agree with Lamit. I just feel like it's certain things that we can't get. So that's what the schools media teams have to capitalize on. Like practice stuff, band room stuff, just angles that we can't get, because we will be encroaching on the band. So I feel like that's where Southern and Jackson and Texas Southern, like all these media teams that are really capitalizing on that. That's why people are still gonna watch their stuff. Like, cause I'm not trying to be first. Like, I get home from a game, go to sleep, my stuff come up the next day. So it's not about being first. Like I be watching, everybody else stuff while I'm editing my stuff. So I feel like, band heads are gonna watch all of it. But if it's good, like they're gonna go to the schools. Like they're still gonna watch it.
And it's funny that you say that you're not going to be first, man. I just remember when I was working at PV, man, I remember Ricky would be uploading them videos on the bus. As soon as we got finished, as soon as we came out of the stands, got on the bus, went to go eat or whatever, Ricky be on the bus uploading the videos. But yeah, you like, hey, I'm good, man. Um,
Yeah.
so do you think that at this point new media people, new videographers, and so on and so forth are now looking at it as a money grab? Because I know that you said, and me being an AV person, I understand how much this stuff costs. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But even still, because someone can look at your page or somebody could look at Lamik's page or Justin's page or Kev's page, and they be like, well, shoot, they got these views. All I got to do is monetize and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Because people people think people think that it's that easy, right? And so that's
They
their
do.
mindset off jump, right? And then on top of that, they'll go get the little cell phone, they get the cell phone rig, and then they be like, all right, we good. I can kind of start off with that, which in a lot of cases they can, but because audio has upgraded and people know how to compress their sound and so on and so forth, if people are doing their whatever they're doing with their audio, or if they giving you just full live surround sound. But I mean, at the end of the day, do you feel like like a lot of people are just now doing a money grab?
Um, I think you can. Well, as far as me in my home, I think you can make more money at McDonald's. So that's just speaking from my end. Like, I ain't got no insane amount of subscribers, but over here, like, if you're in it for the money, you probably be done a long time ago.
Hmm.
So that. But I'm just speaking for me in my home, though. But it may be different for others.
Yeah, I don't think it's a money grab. Well, it's not a money grab because just speaking from somebody that just got into this and started from no subscribers, like it's not as much as people I guess think that they're gonna make. And you have to include travel, you have to include gas, you have to include equipment, you have to include food. Like I have a very good job, like career, so I'm not using this to support myself. Like I post whatever. If it's copyrighted, it gets posted. So that's not you're not making anything off that. Like people don't think about these things. Like YouTube has gotten very good at copyrighting songs. So like if you think it's a money grab, you don't get into it for the money. It ain't working like that.
All right, let me go ahead and do this, and I'm gonna My daggone phone. I'm gonna get to the next question, man. So, welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU, band culture, music, music education, and more. Man, go ahead and smash that like daddy right now. Don't even wait on it. Go ahead and hit it. We got two great brothers, and we got Justin trying to come in a second. That's who's texting me right now. After I just sent him the link twice. Justin, look at the text message. Get it together. All right. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passionate Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcast networks. Just type in Talk That Talk, except for on Apple Podcasts, where you can type in Real Talk That Talk. Also, please make sure you go to www.realtalkthattalk.com and you can pick up all of your Talk That Talk merch. Remember, you can get 30% off your final purchase. Just type in promo code HBCU band. All right. So on to the next question. Have y'all heard any like backlash from like band directors about what you do?
I haven't personally. Now I've heard like horror stories before I got into recording, but I just feel like my approach, like I don't just pop up somewhere with a camera. Like I reach out to directors if I'm gonna show up. I apply through the school's, credentialing systems. Like I make sure I don't give, anybody any reason to feel any type of way about me being there, basically.
Okay. Look like you about to say something.
Yeah, so I'm not allowed at most HBCUs, so I have no idea. But on the high school side, on the high school side, I've heard that. Like I've heard them, just going off about certain people in the industry, just popping up and doing weird stuff, and and then of course, just by watching other people's stuff, you see some shots that should have got blacked out or something. If you got the gimbal and you turned around and then it's pointing at somewhere, that don't need to be pointing. And some individuals don't like just black that stuff out, man. They just go ahead and post it. So yeah, I've heard that, but on the college side, no, I haven't heard that.
So I don't know if I want to ask this. Why what did you do?
I don't know, man. Like shit was easier back in the day, man. Like I say pre 2010, like, and then I took a 10-year break from 2009 to 2019, and coming back in, it's very political and not very much access given these days. So yeah.
So that's two like major dynamics on both sides, because you're saying you saying you're not really having that particular situation, but Lameek, you are saying that you having that kind of situation, or at least you heard about it. So I guess what is the difference between what you're doing versus what Malik is doing? Because it seems like you may not be having that same issue.
Well, no, I see the same things Malik is saying, but I also cover sports, so I don't apply with my band stuff because you will get denied immediately. I don't know why they don't care about band media, but yeah, if you have anything related to band, like I've had somebody be like, "Oh yeah, you cover bands on YouTube?" Yeah, no, we don't let you get credentials for that. So that's definitely something I realized early. They don't like band media, like as far as the schools, like going through the school's credential system.
So it's specifically the schools.
Well, yeah. Now, I mean, some directors, if they have media, like the program has media, like I've had directors be like, we have our own media, so they'll give me the AD's contact information or whatever, and I get that because you don't want to cause any internal conflict with your media by inviting outside media. So I understand that, but yeah, I don't just show up and, like, hey, I'm here with a camera, because I do see how that could be, a little frustrating for directors.
Okay, so then there's a whole nother way that we can look at this then. And I guess that way is, do you think that because of the fact of copyright, because a lot of universities have these copyright laws that they have to adhere to as well. Some of them do have the ASCAP, but I don't think most of them have the BMI. And because of that, coming in and recording could jeopardize, that copyright. Do you think that that's part of it?
I don't think. Honestly, I haven't even thought that deep into it. It may be, but I just think if they have an established media team, like it makes sense for them not to just be like, hey, yeah, all y'all media just come on. Like now, some schools I've noticed, like if there's an event, they'll open it up to like media to apply. Like I've seen Jackson do it. Think no, yeah, Jackson did it last year for the Battle of the Bands, the Southern Jackson Battle of the Bands. So, I mean, I think events like that, if they open it up more, to band media, that's cool. But I understand them not just letting anybody in the band room, stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and bring this guy in. It took him like 4 years to find the link, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring him in anyway. What's going on, bro?
What up, man? I screenshotted it just when you were saying it to show you. It didn't come through on the text.
I don't know why. Because I don't know how you get the link.
I don't know how either, man. It's crazy.
Man. All right. So I don't know what you've heard thus far, Justin. But is there anything you want to chime in on before we keep going?
I listened to the whole thing. I was listening to driving over here. They answered everything pretty well. Especially that part about when he was like when they ask you how much your equipment costs, and when you tell them they have a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? I could just look at videographers' cameras and look at mine. I could tell how much they spending, and if you get into it for the money, I'm gonna just say you good luck. You know what I'm saying? Like good luck, yeah, especially starting out. You know what I'm saying? So, and this coming from, I do videography full time now, so not just band. I'm a weddings, parties, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I do videography full time. And so like his what he said to tag on what he said about how he go home and go to sleep. I think that's one of the things. I'm blessed to have a fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I make people wait on purpose. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing with a lot of people lately, just holding on to the content, which everybody posts theirs, then I'll post mine. And I still get a fair share amount of views, a lot of views, for real, because I just think that's what when people like what they like what they like. So as far as people, when you ask, is it saturated, or if it's room for new videographers, I'm always say yeah. I'm always say you give it a try, and people like, like I A1 Media here, we all like A1 stuff, you know what I'm saying? New on the scene, and he got his own taste. So like, I'm gonna never say it's too saturated. And to the point about bands having their own media team, yeah, like Alabama State, that's the one that people always talk about. With the rules and things of that nature, yeah, they capitalize off of their thing, but sometimes it's funny with all the rules that they put in place about filming their band, and then when if we had a battle of the bands and they have a videographer on the dancers and they have a videographer on the drum majors or whatever, we have to shoot around them, but we still make it more views to them. So I don't think it's just a matter of preference. Everything that people putting in place and all these rules and things of that nature, people are gonna watch what they watch, whether it's up first, whether it's up last. You know what I'm saying? So just to catch up on everything.
All right. So here we go. Next question, man. How many schools have their own media team? Like, really? Like, if we really stop and think about it, how many schools do we know that have their own media team?
Legit, I can count 5, 6. It's on the top. I can count 6 off back. I know PV got their own. Sunday got their own. That's how I got started, by the way. Helping start the Image Box Media. Jackson got their own.
I said we know.
Alabama State. Somebody might didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Alabama State got their own. Hampton has their own. West Norfolk got their own now too. So that's 6 that I know for sure that have Cookman. Oh, FAMU too. Paparazzi. FAMU 8. I know I seen North Carolina Central. They got their own, but I don't know if they have their own. Winston-Salem had their own. So 10, they have a few of them that had their own. And you think about it, it's just a matter of getting the content out fast, like in a timely fashion with quality. I think that would be the thing.
You hit the nail on the head, because that was the next question I was definitely about to ask. When we start talking about quality, I just remember when I started doing videography at Norfolk State, man, I was just a young dude, who my level of information wasn't as strong. They were just like, hey, here's the camera, go record. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a knowledge base or anybody to base my approach off of. So I just did whatever it is I felt comfortable doing. Now, through the years, I've studied and I've kind of gravitated to my own thing, to what I like. But when we start talking about quality, bro, Justin, your quality, top notch. We already know that. A1, your quality, top notch. Lamik, you let that joint out, and everybody was like, yo, we got to start watching this dude. You know what I'm saying? So is it an issue when we start talking about programs who have their own media team, but don't have good quality?
Yeah. Like I'll watch an independent videographer first, like before any school's media team. And that's just because you just want an unbiased like point of view from everything, and you don't want nobody altering the audio of an opposing band, while you like watching like the heat of a battle. So yeah, I watch independent before anybody else.
Yeah, I think.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I know, and I've been back. I don't know, back for a little bit. Like when you go around band directors, a lot of times band directors have reached out to a lot of independent videographers. I know me about what to get, what to buy. I give them free consultation fee on what I think. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what I need to use. And sometimes, when you even tell them, you're like, dang, you spend that much amount of money on cameras, then I pull out 3 or 4 of these cameras that cost $2,000-$3,000 a piece. You know what I'm saying? And you're looking at it like, damn, we only had that in our budget. So like, I think that's a part of it too. It's not cheap. I can look at a camera and tell you what the best of it is. That's because I've been doing it so long. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's something that you could just use in a color grade on a blank slate. If it's not the top of the line, it's only so much it's gonna get. Sometimes you'll do better off shooting with a cell phone than some of the cameras. Sometimes some people be shooting with. So it's not cheap when it comes to quality. So that's my thing.
Yeah, I'm with Smash Time. It's not hard to get quality, but I think given the resources that some schools have, I mean, like you said, it'd probably be better if some of them just use their iPhone, right? Because some of these cameras, they old.
It can't be an Android. You got to be an iPhone.
Well, I mean, I use a Samsung Galaxy, so it can be, but most people have iPhones.
I just wanted to make sure. That's for the Android gang. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, but both. iPhones are really common. So I mean, like he said, it's about their budget and what they can afford to use. And sometimes they use old cameras.
Another thing too, I really haven't got started that long ago. My first college game was 2018. So a lot of people don't know that. I started out with a Canon 70D. It's not all about 4K or whatever. It's about, do you know what you're doing with that camera? You know what I'm saying? Because I can shoot a video with a T6i and a 70D and still have a great product. It don't got to be all this high quality, high definition. You know what I'm saying? Because a cell phone video could go viral. You know what I'm saying? So it's a matter of knowing what you're doing with what you have. So sometimes, schools, you don't have to have a big budget. You just got to have something that's nice and clear and somebody that actually just know what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, man. And real quick, shout out to the new subscriber, Xavier Miller. I just wanted to go ahead and give him a shout out. A1, you said altering quality, altering your stuff. We all know there is somebody out there who be hitting the altar daddy, and I'm not going. You know what? I'm not even going to call this one group out because we've done it multiple times on the show. But they're not the only ones. Let's keep it a buck. They're not the only ones. They're just the most noticeable ones. Because I think for me, being one a music educator, 2 a person who knows music, media, audio, so on and so forth. And 3, just being a fan of what we do, marching band, concert band, so on and so forth. One of the things that I personally don't like is when I see a clip and I hear it and I'm like, yo, they sound great. And I go see them live and I'm like, yo, they sound terrible. So when it comes to the altering of your video and the altering of your audio, does that help or does that hurt?
That's a good question. I don't. So it's weird because my background's in audio. So like I literally got my first degree in music recording technology. So like I've been doing audio for like over a decade, and I can tell when somebody uses a compressor on their audio or like they hard limit their audio. And I think sometimes people get used to certain sounds, like the way certain schools might do their audio or stuff like that. And I think one of the things that hurts is they they just try to get it as loud as possible. Like, and people get used to listening to that, and then when they hear it in person, they're underwhelmed because it's never gonna sound like that in person. So that's one thing for me. Like when I hear somebody's audio and it's just like super loud, sounds good, but it's super loud, and then you hear them in person, it's just like that's not it.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head between the compressors, the limiters, stacking, and then sometimes it's peaking and they don't even realize it. I'm like, oh my God. But no, I for me as a listener, I've always found that to be a problem when you try to adjust your audio to outcrank the band, the other band, and then you get in there and you like, man, they real underwhelming at this point.
But I
So
think some of it's user error too.
true.
Because
I can
one thing
believe.
that blew my mind when I saw how Justin like he used the camera audio sometimes, and it sounds amazing. And you got people out
That's
here with
practice.
recorders,
Practice.
and yeah, like you got people out here with zooms and recorders, and it does not sound good. So I think half of it is learning how to use what you got.
Say it again. Say it again. Because I know for sure when I was a rapper, you know what I'm saying? I spent years in the studio, you know what I'm saying, making music. I don't have a degree in it, but I know sound very well. You know what I'm saying? How to make something. I can tell by the gym I'm in, whatever I say, what I need to do before I do this. And since he brought it up, camera audio, I know when it comes to styles, that's one thing that I prided myself on when I first started listening. Like Garrett get on my butt to this day about it, but like we use external audio, the mic that's on the camera. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't be able to hear what the band members saying. At Smash Time, I wanted people to hear what the band members were saying. You know what I'm saying? So whether if that's on the tuba drum break, I bleed in my natural sound. You know what I'm saying? And then bring it back when the band come in. It's just a matter of how you do it. Now I don't gotta tell nobody no more because it's kind of like you expect a certain thing from me, but it depends if it's a fifth quarter. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give everybody their fair share. So whatever I do for one, I'm gonna do for both, and it just comes back to knowing what you're doing and knowing knowing that people notice what you're doing. If you think people don't notice that whether you stacking the audio or whether you don't sound like it in person, that's disheartening. Sometimes some bands that do it, they don't even have to. They actually sound good. You know what I'm saying? Regular. So I mean, to each his own. But I guess if it's a school doing it, by me being on the school media team, I guess you always have to put the best foot forward for that program, and that's why I would say independent videographers come in handy. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah, man. And I'll say this too, like Aaron. My first degree was in audio. I went to Full Sail for audio engineering in Orlando, Florida. So, learned all that good stuff. And then I even hit him up to this day, about audio problems and whatnot. But the thing I hate hearing like in this game is people like add like all kind of reverb and I'm like, man, why it's almost like you're messing up the integrity of a band sound by like adding a reverb and then it's compressed to hell. And you like what are you trying to accomplish with this? And is this person high? You know, did they just smoke a joint and oh man, this shit just like the best goddamn thing I done heard. And then then we the viewers we hear it, it's just like, man, what the hell is he doing?
Trash.
Or if like, and I want to say you can't compare every videographer that's in the media pit because everybody's shooting with something different. So if you're going to talk about the term of editing audio, technically everyone does it. If I'm shooting with external audio and I didn't use what came out of the camera, it's my opinion. That might I don't care. If it didn't come up with what came out of the camera, if you had external audio, that is what came out. You know what I'm saying? So I know a tip that I use. I don't mind giving people tips. If it's in a gym, because gyms are the ones that you can get away with murder, but sometimes you can kill a program. I always tell people to record low, because in post you can turn it up to what you need to. You know what I'm saying? You have a safer sound, and you don't got to really stack it that much, or just go for what you know. But always record low. So sometimes people got their mic turned up, and now they're gonna get all this reverb and bounce back in the audio. So yeah, so technically everybody edits audio, but what y'all talking about stacking and doing all this $1 million, $3, projects and stuff, I don't know, that makes sense, but people know this, so yeah.
And shout out to our new subscriber, Nate. Just dope. Just wanted to go ahead and give you a shout out, bro. So, and when we start talking about all the true editing, would it be safe to say that if I wanted to, let's say, I don't know, if I'm some random school, I won't put a school out there, but if I'm some random school and I got a media team and I do want to do that editing, if I do want to add a little reverb to it, would it be smart to just do that and then say, all right, I want to try to take this, obviously get the copyright for it, and sell this as some type of an album? Would that, to me, makes more sense when you start adding the different things into it, the different EQs and the different stuff to it, right? To me, that makes more sense when we start talking about editing the audio. It's almost, to me, very similar to and I got to bring them up. And big shout out right quick to DCI. This is their last week. This is DCI finals this week. Big shout out to Ricardo Brown. He's with the Sacramento Mandarins. Man, if nobody knows anything about what's going on, they are making history this year. They have been in the top 5. This is the second year that Rick has been caption head, and they have made the top 5 this year. So shout out to the Mandarin. Shout out to DCI and the DCI finals. But going back to them, that's pretty basically what they do at the end of their season. They sell their season, and this is after the whole season has gone by and they've taken the audio and they've been able to edit it down to studio quality sound, and then they sell it out for the masses. Would that be smarter to do as it relates to what not only what would that be smarter to do when we're talking about our individual school media programs?
I tell you quickly the story. I got approached from about 1.5 years from a big media company about doing stuff for bands. They wanted to get into with bands, like the better bands and stuff, and they wanted to partner with me about it. And I was like, the only way I partner with this, because people see views and think money, of course. So I was like, and only way we're gonna do it is if we get to give the bands like a fair share of it, right? And they was like, cool, get the bands that to sign this form. There was a song about the ASCAP thing or whatever that every music department should like pay a fee to them so they wouldn't get sued for playing their music. And I only asked a few bands like about do they have this, and a lot of programs didn't have it. And it wasn't the band fault, that it falls under some part of the administration that just didn't take care of it. So I said that to say, even if they do and worry about getting sued, sometimes you still can end up getting sued, even if it's the band is doing it, because all somebody to say that's a Michael Jackson song or that's such and such song. So no matter how you alter it, you still can risk the point of like getting the copyright claim on it, because YouTube is great at it. Like, and that's another thing to piggyback off that. Sometimes we'll pay all this money to go to a game and it's 5,000 copyrighted songs and you don't make nothing of it. You know what I'm saying? You can't get nothing of it. So that's just to throw all of which y'all talked about in the past on it. So yeah, I don't think it would have to be some crazy editing, but you still risk a chance of getting copyrighted if it's a song that comes from artists.
You gotta have real good money in order to be able to pull something like that off. That's just the truth. And we'll probably jump into a little bit more later. But yeah, you got to have real good money to be able to pull something like that off, because that's very true. You have to get that rights or get those rights from ASCAP and BMI, and depending upon the artist, depending upon the song, so on and so forth, that costs bread, like bread. And so it's a big thing to kind of go through. But again, we'll talk about it later. But let's go ahead and do this, because I want to jump and go to a different direction. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. Go ahead and top. Why would you tap that like daddy? And also, man, please make sure you subscribe to the Passionate Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcast networks. Just type in Talk That Talk, except for on Apple Podcasts, where you can type in real Talk That Talk. Here we go. Directors. So back in the day, and I've said this on multiple times on this show, back in the day, me coming up, high school in 98, going to the fifth quarter, that was the only place I could see videos at the time. And then other things started popping up. Or if you didn't watch the VHS from some random person who just went to the game. There was a level of excitement that people had when that was in place. Do you believe that what you all do makes directors work too hard to be creative?
I don't think so.
Don't all speak at once.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, because they're not doing it for us. Like, they're not writing a drill because Smash Time gonna be in the building. Like, I just don't think that's the case. Because people they're gonna distribute it either way. They're gonna go live. They're gonna post the clips on their Facebook, Instagram, whatever, even if we're not there. So, yeah.
I would rather somebody like us be there to capture their cell phone. So and that's what a lot of people give us flack about. Say, well, not a lot of people. When people say the videographer's this, the videographer's that. All right, let your video go viral off of some poor quality and people laugh at you versus me giving you a for sure good product. But to answer your question, it don't make them work hard. It's just a time win. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is just fast track. A song can't even stay on the radio 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Before a new hit comes. So that just the same way songs coming out like pancakes. I just think that's the new band culture, and they gotta adapt to it. And let's think about this shit. I know I see all these battle bands, right? I love it, of course, but I think it's gonna be a culture shock to the people that a lot of people expect, like the Suttons and the Jacksons of the world. Every week you want them with a full new book. You know what I'm saying? That's just how things. And you was a band director, you understand how that works. Now I think everybody gonna get a taste of that, because if you got one band and 3 battle of the bands back to back to back, they're gonna have to come up with some new stuff every week. So the market doing it. We ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? We just hit a cover what happened.
I agree. I don't think we make the band directors work harder. I think it's because you like Justin said, you got people out there with cell phones. So okay, we saw this show this week, and then next week you come out there with the same show, and it's like, well, everybody saw it because 100 people at the game was recording. I think it's a sign of the times that we're in, because maybe in the early 2000s you could get away with doing a show for the first 4 games and then break out a new one at the end of the 4 weeks. But you'll even hear it from your peers, and I'm just speaking from experience. Marching in college, you do a show, Crazy in Love, on the field, then you come back the next week and do the same show. Oh, we saw that show last week that y'all did. But you're hearing that from your peers. You're not hearing it from the entire nation that saw this on 100 videos on the net.
Like, it's a microwave society. People want stuff immediately, and then after they get it, they want something new. I feel like back in the day, they could ride out for a couple games with the same show, go crazy. But do that now, they're gonna be like, okay, we want something new. We saw that last week.
So I got a lot of pushback. So okay, so first thing is I got to put my band director hat on for a second. So don't you think you are the market? Like you are the market.
But I meant the market. But I meant the market. I was saying like this events in the people. Like even if we're not recording, I think that I don't know. I might step on. I don't care. I feel like okay. Let's go back to the day when I heard you say it a lot, Luke. Before all of this media and cell phones, I'm gonna hold this cell phone the whole time. Even without me, this exists. It exists. It exists. It exists. I don't care what it is. So even if we there, people gonna post. They're gonna post what happened back to back week. You don't think people gonna say, "Damn, they play that song in week one"? They still playing that one. That one gotta go. Every week, people gonna want to do something. It's a microwave society, so can't blame it on us for putting it out there. And I personally think that bands do it, and the good bands are doing it without a problem, and they're making it look easy. So I feel like everybody else should catch up to what they're doing. If some bands can do it, I feel like all bands can do it.
And what about TJ Mama back there recording the show every week? Is she posting it? So that's not us.
Because her baby.
Yeah,
that ain't us.
So that's not us.
Look at here. And look, y'all are entitled to feel how you feel, but this is the way I look at it, right? I can make a hamburger in my house, but everybody know what Jack in the Box is. Well, not Jack in the Box. Most people don't know what Jack in the Box. Everybody know what McDonald's is, though. Everybody know what Burger King is. Most people gonna go and get a McDonald's burger. Yeah, I can make a hamburger in my crib. Shoot, the little mom and pop store down the street can't make a hamburger, but I'm gonna still go to McDonald's. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm not gonna go to McDonald's every week for 3 months straight, though.
But I'm sorry, I don't even go to. I'm just saying.
Yeah, see, but that's the thing. But you consuming this content every week for 3 weeks straight. I mean, 3 months straight. But
my point is, though, it's what the norm is to go to that place, right? If I went to the mom and pop shop and got a hamburger, yeah, that's cool. You know, it's a place down the street to make hamburgers. That's cool. I get one, and maybe I may go a few weeks without getting that again. But you know, a lot of kids will consume multiple Happy Meals throughout the week. So my point that I'm trying to make is, at the end of the day, yes, people got cell phones, and little Johnny Mama gonna sit back there on and record, but little Johnny gonna be the one who gonna watch that video, and maybe his partners. But it ain't gonna be getting to the millions of people that you all are reaching. I mean, let's keep it a buck. My little cell phone video that my mama recorded that probably only got me in it, you know, and maybe me shaking my butt and the whole band on the dance routine is a lot different than 3-4 camera angles with 4K quality and amazing audio. Those are two totally different things.
Look, let me tell you what I learned. You go ahead, Ewan.
The quality is different, but even before I started recording bands, I had cell phone clips going viral. Just when Southern played I Rule the World at Bama State. Like, I had clips from that game going viral, like, just because I was there with a cell phone, and the clip was terrible, quality was terrible, but people, they just want to consume. So if it's not us, it's gonna be somebody. Like, it's gonna get out there.
And I just recently started a sports broadcast company, and just me learning YouTube, like, and how it works. I think I not got it mastered, but I damn sure got a good hold on it. Band is a grain of rice and a bag of rice. Even though I pride myself being one of the bigger channels, and they got channels bigger than me, but I just look at analytics all day. Like, the millions of people that watch what we do, or like watch my channel or whatever, there's so many more millions of people out there. You know what I'm saying? And one of those other millions of people probably get the game. I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like I must always say no, said Luke, because as long as band directors are hitting me up to be at a game, you know what I'm saying? What is the biggest school or the smallest school? They may feel like, you know, it's not that hard of a task for them. I just think that's the band that we're in now. If every band, you ain't got to kick out new stuff every week, but also you can't fault the people when they say that they comment. You know what I'm saying? You run your show. They got some band programs, you look at sound quality alone. They may play the same 5 songs the whole year. In the battle, you got a song better than them. They may get flack for it, but it depends on what your morals or values. But then again, when these kids no one come to your school because you been playing the same 5 songs all year. You know what I'm saying? Now what? You got to impress the kids too, and the recruits. So it's tough, man. I don't know. That's a tough one, Luke.
But I think also going back to the band director thing, you know, and y'all kind of hit on it, but you know, I think that because of the fact that you all put out content, like if you put y'all 3 together, plus Killer Kev, plus Showtime, who am I missing? I can't think of it. Dang it.
Marching Sport.
You put all of them together, one of y'all gonna be at every other game. Like, let's be real, or the bigger games. So when that happens and those clips are circulating every week as a band director, now it's like, now it goes back to what you were saying, A1. Oh, we just seen that. But just imagine if those clips weren't as readily available. Yes, your audience is always going to see. I disagree with that, but I'm going to tell you why. Your audience is always going to see your show. That's never going to change. That ain't changed since the dawn of time, right? And the only thing that at the time that we would have to change, you know, anybody who marched back in the 90s or before or early 2000s, really the only thing we had to change was just a dance routine. We go out the same drill. We change the dance routine up. Everybody's happy. We good. And we can rock that for about 3 weeks.
Look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, if I appreciate you feeling like that, you know what I'm saying? And I do, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like it's almost a slap in the face.
You got to understand too. You got to understand too. I'm coming from what a band director is thinking too. So you got to keep that in mind. But go ahead.
It's almost like, and I know you ain't saying this verbatim, but it's like it's saying more videographers are kind of making the band director job harder because you always on film and you can't get away with doing this, that, and third. I don't care how many cameras we recording. People recording man for 30 years now. People still ain't doing another field show until their next big game. You know what I'm saying? They still ain't doing another home field show until homecoming. And if they don't have a good game at the homecoming, guess what? They might not do one at all. So I don't know about the job. It's for the stands and songs. That's something that's changing with the time. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand this is the new band where we live in. You got to have a book. You know what I'm saying? People judging battles off of like how the songs sound, but it's gonna give you more points if you play something new and it sounds good. So I don't know. I don't know, Luke. I
get what Smash Time's saying. Like, I don't think it's us. I think just the nature of like how the culture views battles and like judges, you know, how people play stuff or what people play is way different from back then. Like, because these new kids, they want to hear new songs. They want to hear, you know, the hottest songs. Like, they don't care about you playing the same stuff every week.
But the thing is, that's not new though. We always were expected to play the top 10, the top 20. That's not a new concept.
Every week though?
Yeah.
Ain't no way.
I don't know about every week.
Ain't no way.
Let me clarify. I'm not gonna say every week, but what I will say is every big game. And if you in the SWAC, think about it. Every game is a big game.
I'm glad you said that, Luke, and that's why it's like a lot of other conferences give the SWAC so much flack for overblowing, overcranking, but they don't get flack for the production value. I just literally came from a college band practice. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care. You would never hear me just crucify some of these bands for what they be, for how they may sound, because I know the amount of practice it goes into that. But also, we gotta stop acting like these kids ain't getting this on a high school level. You know, I'm from New Orleans. Like, it ain't no different. It's just the bands get bigger. You know what I'm saying? So the high schools have new books. So you can't expect what you gonna do a kid. I come from Edna Cup. I come from Landry Walker, one of these. I come from a Jonesboro where our book is stupid. We got a different song every other week. And you mean to tell me I get to my college band and we playing the same file? Now I'm looking at the band like that. And so it's just a matter how the kids are different, times are different. So it's not like.
Oh, my bad. I ain't gonna cut you off. I see high schools drop a song as soon as, like, the album might have dropped at midnight. Matter of fact, when Hot came out, bro, it was high schools playing it that Friday night at the game. It was colleges playing it that Saturday at the game.
Yeah,
Like,
the
that
whole
turnaround
contest for
was
it.
crazy.
I remember that contest.
Again, I don't think that what you all are saying is anything new. And I guess I say that I'll put it this way. When what was that Will Smith movie that was a remake? Wild Wild West. When Cisco and came out with that song, Wild Wild West. Remember that for that when he did it for that movie? I was playing that right when the song dropped in what was it?
97, 98, 99.
98? Yeah, it was somewhere around there. 98, 2000.
Getting old, man.
Whatever. I was playing that right when the song dropped. It was just like the other Cisco song, Thong Song. I was playing that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so if you could have did it, if you did it in 97, what's the problem now?
What I'm saying, because I'm trying to get to my point. What I'm
saying, you got a real man.
The concept that you all are saying is nothing new. Playing the hottest track and being the person to play it first, and or being the person to play it at all, is nothing new. What I'm saying is the excessive need for it to change every single time they step out. When we played that Wild Wild West song, we was rolling with it for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Just explain the problem.
But I'm saying,
that's the difference.
What I'm saying is giving the content out and making it so readily available to everybody is making them yearn for more. If the content was not as readily available and accessible, then I think the energy for wanting it to be something new every week would change. Because let's look at it. There could be a top song that comes out, yeah, but ain't a top song coming out every week. So you at least have time to run some old stuff at least a week or two before the next song hit.
Luke, I'm gonna say make it good, because I don't care how many new songs they come out with every year. That every band got that one you still want to hear. They got that one. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 2, 3, 4. Some bands. You know what I'm saying? All band has done, and I intern for a radio station, so I understand how people pick the hits and whatever people want to hear. You wonder why the same song come on the radio, because it's that song. But not even on the radio, it's changing. But also, bands just turn from regular radio to FM radio, XM radio. You know what I'm saying? We getting a little bit of everything. Last thing, it ain't about playing what's new hot, and that's what I love about like bands like Southern and Jackson. Like, it'll be something that's not even on the radio that they make fire. What's that? Where that come from? It's the 4th song on the album. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like, I be mad that the bands be picking a better single than the artist sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. If you could have did it in 97, Luke, and you was putting them songs out that fast, all we doing is just doing it. People ain't even doing it that much, but just doing it every other week.
But the stakes have changed. Like, people, if it's hot, yeah, people want to hear it. But if the other band got a new hot song and you playing the same thing from last week, like, they're gonna go with the new hotness.
You set your kids up for this L that's about to come. You don't think?
You can't bank on what worked last week working this week.
I'm not saying that you don't need to be the one that's ahead of the curve. I would never say that. What I'm saying is that being ahead of the curve now means that you are working 10 times harder to try to be ahead of the curve. And a lot of band directors, a lot of staff get burnt out early, get burnt out a lot quicker, man. And I think a lot of it just has to do with exposure. It has a lot to do with, again, how accessible it is.
I have a question, Luke. If you're a band director,
let me finish. But if it wasn't as accessible, then I just don't think that the need for it to happen as fast would be the same. But go ahead, Justin.
In this day and time, you caught up on bands, you watch them a lot. Well, you understand, you're in the band world. If this was your schedule, and Luke is the band director, the current bands, your schedule is South Carolina State, first game. The next week, your schedule is FAMU, the second game. And then your third game is Southern. You mean to tell me I mean, the question is, your book gonna stay the same all 3 weeks in this current band season? Huh?
Yes.
That's somebody's
Oh,
schedule.
Not it. So let me explain my yes. My yes means if I'm playing South Carolina State, you getting the straight out of band camp. You ain't getting nothing new. Whatever we had in band camp, that's what you getting. If I'm going to FAM next, I'm probably gonna pull out some classics, some of the March Daddies, and that's it. And then if I'm playing Southern, that means now I got to bring out the new stuff. But the new stuff was being practiced for those first 2 weeks before I actually debuted them when I played Southern, is my point.
You don't think these bands practicing these songs week before? Are they getting the week of?
See, now you missing what you missed what I'm saying. What I'm saying is because what I'm saying is my stuff would be practiced 3 weeks in advance to prepare for whatever I feel that program needs. Because you don't approach every program the same. That just doesn't even make any sense.
You changing that book up though, Luke. Yeah, it's what we say. I don't think it's these band schedules are hectic. I think that was Jackson's schedule. I try to give just now, and that was just a piece of it. But you're looking at like a schedule like Southern's or Alabama A&M who got crazy games back to back. You would be a fool to play the who you got crucified for that. I think Alabama State just got crucified playing the same songs the whole time, and then when they got to Jackson, the new song that they played, it wasn't like. I ain't say up the par, but from the comments, you know what I'm saying? They got they butt handed to them.
They probably tried to practice it the week of. And I'm not saying that's what they did, but I will say, as a person who did that at Norfolk State, if you go back, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna give y'all a little secret into Legion land here, at least during my time. I don't know what happens now, but during my time, if you go back and listen to any gym battle during my time, that's the 02 to 06 time, 02 to 06. Many of the spirit mixes that we did and or the flag tunes that we did and or the hot ice tunes that we did were all most of those songs were gotten that week, if not the day before. So to say that bands don't do it or haven't done it or aren't still doing it is very possible. Me being in that process and realizing as a student how much pressure I had to be ready for a performance the next day with a song made me be smarter about how I plan my music and how I plan my rehearsals for my students. But that also goes with the fact of I'm also thinking about the betterment of the program, and I'm also thinking about who I'm facing. So when you give me a schedule like that, well, yeah, I'm not going to pull out my hotness, against South Carolina State. You may get one good daddy,
I was being nice saying that. I really was, because I can look at
you should have given me a more challenging schedule. I'll be like, I'm just saying. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just keeping it real because
you know what? You want one better? Look at Jackson's schedule. This is Jackson's schedule from the South Carolina State game. That's what made a challenge. But their first game is FAMU. Their second game is Southern. Like, I don't care. What are you talking about? I don't care that they may have some, but they're gonna have a crazy amount for Southern. They get a week off. They play Texas. They didn't play Bethune-Cookman. They play Alabama A&M, Alabama State, and the newly Valley that's coming along, and they still play Pine Bluff. Then they got Texas Southern. Come on, man. That's if you think they're gonna get away with what they got away in back in the day with a schedule like that, they ain't gonna work.
But here's the thing. One, again, I said earlier, the SWAC is preparing, and the SWAC is different. I can agree to that for somebody who was teaching in the SWAC 5 years at PV. So I know, but what I'm also going to say is this. I'm pretty sure that Jackson is being smart about how they prepare their schedule. Again, you just said they got South Carolina and FAM first. That's the two schedules, or that's what's on the schedule for the first two games.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure that they're not going to pull out, or excuse me, they're preparing their Southern music 2 weeks in advance.
You making my point though, Luke. Yeah, I feel like it's not. All my point is what this, how you say how it's like a turnaround time, and how like is making a band work his job. This is the norm, and you know what the craziest part about what me and you talking about right there is? We saying the premier man like that. Think about somebody else who ain't used to that. Like anybody think about one of the bands, so you wouldn't consider a top 5. You know what I'm saying? They still have to do something with what's going on now. You know what I'm saying? The MEAC, not no shade to them, they get a luxury tax over there. I was just looking at I want to go to a South Carolina state game this year because I'm hearing they're gonna have a big band this year, but they don't play a game until 8 games on the season. 8.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
We'll see if South Carolina have a bigger band this year. I'm not saying that they won't, but I'm just saying we'll see. But go ahead. No, you good. I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying? But they said since 2014 numbers, a bigger band than they've been having these couple years. So every band director ain't got that luxury. Some band directors are still getting the luxury of being able to get away with what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? But even this science about to be crazy. This science about to be crazy this year. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know, man. I don't know, Luke.
I'm gonna say this real quick, Xavier. You're actually saying what I'm saying. So Xavier said that the book low key has to change 2 to 3 weeks. That's what I'm saying. 2 to 3 weeks. That gives you that's enough time. What the argument is? People are like it's got to change every week. I'm like, bro, that's a lot of work. But anyway, let me go ahead.
Yeah, Luke. So you're 5 years working in the SWAC. You're speaking from experience. You having to work extra hard because of the videographer.
That's not the videographer's fault.
Is that a question or was that a statement?
Yeah, that's a question.
Oh, okay. So I know that when we first I'll give you some insight. When we first got there was a mindset of we're going to do things the way we feel is best and the way we feel we have to do them. But as time went on, we realized that we had to keep up with the time and with the culture. Otherwise, we would get lost in the sauce. So that required us to, and again, being in the SWAC, that required us to continuously change over and over again. And I think another thing, and a lot of it, we did kind of look at it like, dang, if this drill wasn't out so quickly, then we would have room to say, all right, we can hold off. But people were expecting something different every time they saw us. They were expecting something new and something different. Now, what I will say is this: I want to be very clear. Bands are not like changing every week either. So I know that that's not directly happening, but it is on the forefront of directors' minds. Hey, we got to change up. Hey, we got to change up. Hey, we got to change up. Versus, like I said, back in the day, you just throw a new dance routine in there and people be like, all right, that's new. All right, yeah. You know what I'm saying? That don't work no more. And you don't have that luxury and that freedom like you used to. So that's what I'm saying.
Is that the videographer's fault though?
I'm about to get off out of dip, y'all. Look, you made me think about something you saying that you don't have to change every week. You don't, like, because I know I'm just thinking about being realistic. It's some bands that they got 2 dubs back to back, but 2 member bands that play the same, but they may add like 1 or 2 up in there. But I'm also saying that, like, in this, I guess, microwave time frame, I think that going into it and how band directors are getting younger and younger, I think we all could agree on that. You know what I'm saying? I think that they also have the mindset that they've been trained from college. So, like, that this is the new band. They're not stuck in the olden days. It's only like a few band directors. I think that I don't know how band directors have a problem. Would that be something I'm gonna start asking band directors? Do you think that there's a problem, or do it put a strain on y'all? You know what I'm saying? Some might be honest, some might not. But you don't gotta change every week. You just always want to be good. And I know you don't want the fact that your book is over. People tired of hearing you playing that same song to be one of the reasons why you end up, quote unquote, losing around all that. But I gotta go now. This show, Luke, I normally stay where I really gotta head from this. But all right, man, I'm going.
All right, brother. Appreciate it. All right, man. I actually only have really one more topic that we can go in, and then after that we'll be towards the end, man. So let me go ahead and do this, man. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. Man, y'all go ahead and smash that like daddy for these brothers, man. They have coming in here and they represent well for the videographers, man. And they just actually dropped some information and some nuggets that either I didn't know or some people didn't know out there, and giving their personal opinion. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So go ahead and hit this, the like daddy for them. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passioneers Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcasting networks. Just type in Talk That Talk, except for on Apple Podcasts, where you can type in Real Talk That Talk. Also, remember the website is open for you to go and get your Talk That Talk merchandise. Just remember, type in www.realtalkthattalk.com and you can get 30% off your final purchase. Just type in HBCU band for the promo code. All right. So let's go ahead and get to this last thought process here. Small bands. Do you think, and I hate that he left, because I know this is one of the things that we challenged him on, and he's been doing a great job with it. But small bands, do you think that we don't spend enough time as videographers covering the small bands?
Access. Like, and literally, this has been my biggest issue, getting access. The smaller the school, the harder it is to get access to the game, unless you either talk to the director directly or you know somebody that can get you in. Because I've been having the hardest time getting in touch with these SciAC schools to inquire about credentials, because they don't have an application. The website's not up to date. And it seems like the smaller the school gets, the harder it is to find somebody that can put me in touch with the right person. So at least for me, is access. Because I want to cover the smaller schools. I want to cover the schools in Georgia, but it's hard to get access to the games.
Cool. I'll go ahead and take this one. So due to the problem I'm obviously having with most HBCUs, I've been down camping out at Fort Valley, for last couple of years. They've been very supportive and welcoming. Shout out to Fort Valley. I done filmed them in South Carolina State. I even went down there to Edward Waters and caught their first game of the season in 21 against Florida Memorial. I got rained out, but ultimately I drove down there and caught some footage of them. However, at home, pretty much what Aaron said, like, access. We got Morehouse and Clark right here, but access is real. It's, he pretty much spoke facts on that. But yeah, I try to get to the small schools, but that's that barrier that's there. Like, even like the Fountain City Classic, Albany State versus Fort Valley. I try to get up in there, can't get in contact with anybody. You shoot them emails, you give them phone calls, and then you just get the dough. So that's a very good contributing factor that he mentioned.
Is it a thing with trying to get in contact with the band directors, or it's just, I don't know. I guess my question is it difficult, or you guys just don't want to get in contact with the band directors?
So me personally, I try to go through the official channels first, because even sometimes when, like, I've gotten in with the band director, they've tried to kick me off the field because I don't have an official credential. So I try to go through the official channels, initially, so that doesn't happen. But even sometimes it's hard getting in contact with the directors, because unless I can find them on social media, again, a lot of the websites aren't up to date. Like, I can't find AD's emails. I can't find up-to-date numbers, emails. So it's kind of hard unless you know them or you can get in contact with them. Now, some I've been able to get in contact through, like, Instagram, Facebook, but others, I don't know how to reach them that way. So it's tough.
Yeah.
Wow. Go ahead.
Ditto on that. I always try to go through the, like, official route, on the website, or if they if they got a link on the website to apply, I try to go through that way, and then obviously trying to reach them on other channels, other methods of communication. But for the most part, obviously I haven't been successful, so yeah, it's a real thing. But I think a relationship, an actual like relationship with the band director will like work wonders. And only reason I'm saying that is just because like on the high school side, like most of my friends from high school and college are band directors now. So all it is like they're calling me up like, hey, come to this game. So I can only imagine like, if I had that relationship like on the college level, that it would be as simple as that, them setting it up for you.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
because
Oh, go ahead.
the directors I have been able to like get in contact with and connect with, I mean, it is a little easier when I can reach out to them and say, hey, you mind if I cover the game or the battle of the bands? And like, yeah. Or if they know, okay, you probably need a credential, they can at least put me in contact with the right person, or forward my email to the person that's gonna help me get a credential.
So, and this is actually new information for me, man, because I just didn't know. Usually when I see a video pop up from a game or something like that, I'm thinking like, everybody can get in, as long as you got the ticket or the pass, daddy. So yeah, I didn't know that. So do you think that there will be a point to where what you all do will either be shut down or just a lost art within itself? Because apparently there's a level of red tape there that is kind of hindering you all from doing what what you all do.
Yes, I'm already experiencing it right now. Like,
Hmm.
Back in the day, like I got down there for Cookman and Southern in '06. No problems. I could go to FAMU, the school that I went to, no problems. Now I can't do that shit. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that no more. So
You good? What have I ever stopped anybody from cussing on here? But go ahead.
yeah, that's all I had on that one.
I don't think it'll be a lost art, but I do feel like you have to, especially with college, you have to cover the sport first.
Yep.
Because my first year out, I got denied so much because I was approaching them as a band videographer. And then once I started covering the sport while I was there, like get some highlights of the football game, like put some stats up. Then they were like, oh, okay, well, you cover sport. So yeah, we can give you a credential, which is weird. Like, because I'm still getting the band footage, but because I don't approach them as a band videographer, it was different.
That's I don't know, man. I think that just that's super weird to me, I guess.
It's weird.
It's reality though.
I'm not going to not deny the fact that it's reality. I just think it's super weird on the strength of, is this a band directive or is this an AD directive or is this a school directive? You see what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's more school.
Sports information director.
Yeah, because even
okay.
some of the band directors, like they didn't have a problem. Like the actual person who approves credentials for whatever reason, if they saw a band, or if they, if I gave them the link to my YouTube channel and they saw a band, they were like, "Oh no, no, you cover band." Like, no, they wouldn't approve me. But as soon as I switched it up and created like a sports page, like I started getting approval. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it's funny. When I was looking you up, I saw the sports page. I was like, "Is this the same dude?" Oh, I don't know. And I
Yep.
saw the logo, and I was like, "Yeah, this is all right. Then we good." We good. But yeah, again, I just think that that's super weird, man. And I think for me, when we go back to the conversation of the smaller band programs, first of all, I want to clarify that what we call small bands during my time of marching wasn't small. Most of those bands had numbers based in today's climate, and I want to say changing of multiple guards in programs. Numbers are not the same in some of those programs, but either way, I think that covering smaller band programs is definitely necessary in what we see from videographers, because unfortunately a lot of people just believe it's just really those top 5, like those are the only HBCU bands that exist. You know, and you get your sprinkles of certain programs here and there, but I don't think that, and I'm not saying that it's your fault or it's you guys, I'm just saying in general, we're not spending a lot of time bigging up these other programs. Most of the reason why a lot of kids want to go to the bigger programs is because that's the ones they see the most. You know, and I think that that's where the biggest issue is. I pray for the day when Morris Brown decides to open up their band program again, because when that happens, we'll get Mo B back. But the problem with that is, what is that going to look like from a media standpoint?
Yep.
You know, because kids now don't know what a Morris Brown is. You know, the footage they can go back and look at is the last year that they played Norfolk, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? That video grainy as hell. So they not getting 4K 1080 quality. They getting some old trash, something that we watched on TV. So, you know, I think that is very necessary. You know, if this art form is going to continue to move forward, that in some way we have to find a way to cover the smaller band programs. I know we've given Tuskegee a lot of flack on this show, but it's all in fun. But even still, they need coverage.
I'm actually trying to get down there, but again, I haven't been able to get in contact with the right people on the athletic side. Like one of my boys I marched with, Rick, he just got on the staff, so that allowed me to make a connection with Tuskegee. But before, I didn't know how to get in contact with the band director. Like, so it's all about just trying to find ways to get the right connections. Because there's still some SAC schools that I want to cover, but I can't figure out how to get into games.
And I just think that's really interesting. And again, these are things that even I didn't know. I didn't know that there was a major issue with you guys being able to get in games. And I guess that's why we only do see video and coverage from certain games, and specifically from certain people, because I think those certain people have those relationships with those band directors or those schools, so on and so forth, so they're able to get into these programs. Okay, want to move on very quickly. We were talking about small band programs. I know Lameek, you have, and he went out. Okay, I don't know. He was giving some kind of red light special and he was out. But I know that Lameek has done this and he's covered a lot of high school programs. How do you feel about covering high school programs? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm a high school percussion instructor, so it's hard for me to cover high school programs because I'm at games on Friday night. So that's why I don't really get to cover a lot of high schools, because usually I'm at my own school's game. But I mean, when I get a chance, I try to cover high schools too.
So do you think that's a necessary thing to do?
I feel like
high schools,
whether it's high school, middle school, I cover anything. It could be a concert festival, it could be the Christmas concert. Like, I feel like the exposure and just, especially nowadays, kids being able to see themselves on YouTube, it means a lot to them. And I didn't realize how much it meant to them, like, until some of my own school's kids, you know, would be watching like the video of them, like when I walk in, and they're excited because being on YouTube, being on social media, having your videos go viral, whatever, it means a lot to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I really don't have a lot of footage of me in high school just because band videography wasn't that big. Like, we didn't have Lameeks that could pull up, you know, to certain games. So I at least try to cover as much as I can, you know, so people can have something.
There you go. He came back. I don't know what.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, he was in and he was out. Uh, but yeah, man, I you know, and you kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit. And I only say a little bit just because of the fact that the school that I was at, Willeridge, we were a hot commodity for a long time. So, you know, there's footage of me during my time. There are certain games I wish that we did have footage of that
Yep.
we just don't have. And so again, I kind of agree with what you're saying. I think that it's necessary to be able to record these schools. I think for me, when it comes to recording high schools, these are the two things that I have a problem with. The first thing that I have a problem with is when we're recording high schools and it's not the best quality that comes out. Not necessarily from the aspect of the videographer, but more or less from the program. Because you always want to try to put the program in the best light. And I think that sometimes we record the high schools or high schools will be recorded for the interest of just saying, this is the high school. But are they putting out a good product? And I think to me that matters too, because at the end of the day, they are a representation not only of themselves, but they are a representation of the school, the community, so on and so forth. And if the product isn't good, you know, then I think that reflects badly. Now, here's a caveat to that. Some people think that the product that they let out is good. Don't know how,
Well,
but you know, hey.
I I try not to determine whether it's good or not. Now, me personally, I don't put out, anything that's gonna hurt, you know, the band director or the school. Like, I'm not gonna put out anything negative like that. But when I'm recording, I'm focused on making my product look the best it can. Like, if whatever people think of the program, that's on them. But that's not me for me to judge. Like, oh, they sound terrible. I'm not. I'm not even listening like that. Half the time, I have to like listen when I get back home because I'm just locked in trying to make sure I'm getting the right shots and stuff like that.
And then the other thing that um I don't like or I kind of get concerned about, and I don't want to overly dwell into this topic, but it's something that it just bothers me, makes me cringe, is the dance girls. And I think not from recording the dance girls. I don't have a problem with recording the dance girls. I don't think that's a problem, even though in some instances it can be a problem depending upon the way that the culture is now. To me, the stalker-ish culture of the way the dance community is. But that's not even where the problem is. I think for me, the problem becomes where some of the high school programs feel like they can wear some of the things that the college programs wear, and then we're recording them and they're being put out into the masses. To me, that's just very cringeworthy. It's different if they had, a nice little outfit, a short outfit, like a short set outfit, or maybe even a one leg outfit, just something. But when you start getting into the ones where they other things are exposed, to me that's cringeworthy. And I wonder if the people the videographers who are recording them are thinking about that when they are recording them.
I got can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
you're back. You're good.
Okay, yeah. So I got some comments regarding that. Like one time, I mean, I remember seeing like, who let the girls wear that. I'm surprised the principal didn't say anything. And I guess like when I'm in the moment, I'm not really thinking about like what the girls have on or anything. So it's like even like a marching in video this past fall. Like I shot it and then I posted it to my Instagram, and then oh boy, like argument jumped off. Like I wish the coach wouldn't have put the girls in that. It's way too revealing, maybe for college. And then it just got me like, well, damn, do I do I take it down or like, and I know if anything, the fingers are gonna point at me, for putting it out there. But was I the problem, like being there, or was the problem somewhere in the dressing room? So, I get what you're saying, and just to answer your question, I don't think about it in the moment, but the comments will definitely let you know, you know, like, hey, yeah, that outfit ain't what it is, man. So
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, I just go ahead, go ahead.
Wait, I mean, I try to get everybody, so I try not to focus on the dancers or focus on just anything in particular. I'm trying to get the entire experience, but I am kind of cautious on how I record dancers, especially high school dancers, because like Lameek said, like you can post an innocent video and that you think is, decent, tasteful, and somebody will have a comment like, we intended to, make them look bad or, expose something. So I just kind of keep that in mind when I'm recording dancers in general.
Yeah, I mean, and to be quite honest, you kind of hit it. Dancers in general, um, but I know from a high school perspective, that's just kind of always, and I guess that's me as a parent, me having two daughters. You know, my oldest daughter wants to do like cheer, dance, so on and so forth. So I understand that there are outfits and costumes and so on and so forth that she has to wear. Now, I also agree or understand that there are some costumes and outfits I'm just not going to agree with as a parent. Now, with that being said, when those other babies are out there doing their thing, that was their coach who decided to let them out with whatever it is that they had on. But at the same time, recording them and putting them out for the masses, I think gives them another level of attention that I don't believe that they need for young ladies. Um, because those whoever's gonna see it at that game is gonna see it. But when we record it and we put it out, then that's multiple people from different areas seeing it. And I feel the same way kind of about college dance girls. Um, because I get cringe sometimes, and this is no shot at them, but I see them do it all the time when the Golden Girls do that little drop thing that they do, the little gush thing they do. And for me, that it's cringeworthy because they usually are not wearing their best outfit when they do that. Um, but again, we're talking about older girls. But when we're talking about young ladies, that's just me. As far as when we're talking about high school, so that was the two things. But I do think that high school band programs do need the exposure. As a band director, as a music educator, as someone who's always thinking about putting your best product forward, I'm always going to go on the side of always, thinking when you were recorded, is this the best product for that program?
So question on that. So like what's the best way to move about the cabin, taking that into consideration? You're at the game, you're not really paying attention to an outfit, then the coach comes up to you like, yo, make sure you get my girls coming in, the yes crowd and all that. Like, so how do you navigate that? You know what I'm saying?
So first of all, the yes crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you already know, man.
Yes. Anyway, so were you asking me or were you asking
Yeah, yeah,
anyone?
I'm asking you.
Um, I'm gonna say it like this. So I think there's two levels to that conversation. So the first part of that conversation as a band director is I'm gonna as me being a band director, I'm always gonna communicate with my auxiliary person. I'm gonna see the uniform before you debut the uniform. So if I have a problem with the uniform, you ain't wearing that uniform. Because 9 times out of 10, at least the situations that I've dealt with, a lot of the money came out of, you know, our pot and I had to control the pot. So that means that for you to pay for this uniform, I have to agree to that uniform. And if I don't agree, you ain't wearing it. So for me, that's the first part about it. Now, not everybody has that particular situation, or they may not be in that situation. If they're not in that situation, then my suggestion would be yes, if the director wants you to record them, I'd say record them. Don't not record them. But when you're going back and you're editing the footage, put yourself in a parent's position and say, okay, this move here, this one looks good, but I don't think I'm gonna put this one in here. If they got a march in and they just actually just marching in, fine, record that. But if they got to march in and they wearing something that they shouldn't be wearing, and then they drop down and do some floor tumbles and some rolls and some gushing, you probably don't want to record that. Maybe cross dissolve into the band being in the stands or something, or the drum majors doing something else that'll take the eye off of that negative content. And so that way you're still fulfilling what the director asked for by having the girls in there, but you're also being very mindful of what you're putting out there as well.
Yeah, I also feel like it's a right and wrong way. Well, let me not say right and wrong. There's a tasteful and less tasteful way to shoot everything. And I think where some people go wrong, they shoot it the wrong way. And let's say you probably shouldn't be like all up in, somebody's face when they doing something like that. And, you put it online and it's not tasteful. Like, but you can also, film that in a more tasteful way where like you still get what's going on, but it's not in a distasteful angle or, like presentation.
Yeah, there you go. I hope that helped.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, man. We wrapping this up, man. This has actually been super dope. I feel like I got some information that I didn't know. And I put some thoughts out there from a band director's perspective. So hey, we got some different sides of the tracks, man. I definitely would say if we can get in and we can create communications and conversations with directors and videographers and even media teams, man. I think that it's always good for especially guys like you, man, who have great video quality, who know the business, who understand it, to get with some of these media teams. Now, does that mean that your business may change? Possibly. You give them all the good tricks of the trade and they start using your tricks, and then you be like, well, but I think that there's a way for all of this to be married into something great, man. So I appreciate you fellas for coming on the show. And Justin as well. I know he had to tip out. Any final thoughts you got? A1 Media.
I enjoyed being here. Like this was a really good show. And well, actually on your last part, I would like to see more collaboration with like independent media and the schools media. Like even if it's just, if you're at the game, I want to start like helping folks shoot their field shows. Like people that only may have one or two cameramen. Like if I'm at the game, usually I don't like try to rush up in the stands and record the field show, but like I would definitely like to see more collaboration on that part. Like, if you let me in the game, I'll help y'all out. Like, cause I don't mind. But it does kind of seem weird, at some games where it's like, the school media team looking at you and you looking at them like, like you trying to encroach on their territory, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, and I think that opens a very, very big avenue for discussion, collaboration, man. Because I think it is like that. And I think that building those relationships are necessary in order for those things to take place. And I think also being able to get in touch with those directors, like you said, is difficult to do, would help that. So, hey, band directors, listen, university band directors, update your pages. Update your pages. Update your pages. There's no reason why I should go on anybody's university band website and they showing directors from 3 years ago that's not there. So update your pages.
Sometimes it's not the director. It's one school in particular. I won't say the name. I've literally went down the list and like 3 emails in, none of them work for their athletic department. So it's like I don't know what to do at this point.
Well, so then it's from an HBCU perspective, we got to do better.
Yeah.
We got to do better. We got to open the room up for collaboration. I think that really is going to be able to move this thing forward. And as we always say, we want to talk about advancing the culture and moving the culture forward. You have somebody on here who's literally saying, I'm willing to help you out. You don't always got to do it by yourself, and we don't always have to Hashtag update your pages. We don't always have to think about going and getting it in the mud. I don't understand that thought process as us as people. Why do we glorify the getting it out of the mud culture? There are people out here who want to help you, and he's saying he wants to help. So again, update your pages and make yourself open and available for collaboration. Malik, any final thoughts, man?
Yeah, man. Just first, yeah, I hope to get out to more schools this year. You know, get some more content. Last couple of years, I've been kind of just putting on for the city. You know, just taking advice from Uncle Killer Kev. You know, just put on for your city. Everything else will come later. Shout out to A1 though, man. Like this dude done helped me out in some trying times. My cameraman forgot to press record. He helped me out with some audio. I left my tripod at home for Georgia versus New Orleans. He let me get one out the car. You know, and just to see his growth over this past year, man. It's like I think his channel can just be looked at as an experiment, man. When you got quality and access, you know, you about to kill it. And just look at this summer, man. This man dominated this summer, like from the summer circuit, just dominated. Last fall dominated, and I hashtag it every time. It's the A1 Media Takeover, man. He got the quality, and you know, and he lends a helping hand, man, when you done effed up out there in the wild, man. So shout out to Aaron over there.
It,
oh yeah, man, definitely, man. Shout out to him doing this thing, man. His following has definitely increased, and like back in the day when he was starting the stuff, I was sharing the stuff, man, and I continue to do that for anybody, man. And shout out to the Rogers brothers, Nate Just Dope, anybody just sharing our content, man, to help it get out there, man, because that's the only way we can grow, man, just helping each other, man. So yeah. I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate shows like this, Talk That Talk. Like I think Luke, you said it in the beginning. Like I'm always in the comments supporting, man. Like I just think things like this, shows like this, are just great for the culture, man. And it's only one way up that you can go. Like look at Crucial Conflict. Them boys, they came up, you know, over the course of 2 years, and now everybody tuning in to hear, you know, the real comments what people got to say after battles, you know. And I just think it's good for the culture, like all together, man. So I think everybody doing a good job, man, and just you know, keep prospering, man.
Man, Malik, you know I appreciate you 100%, man. You know me and you done chopped it up behind the scenes multiple times, but I want to say this, man. Can't be going out these daggone games raggedy. You forgot the tripod, the cameraman, the best of it. God dang, man.
Hey, what happens?
Like I don't know how in the hell I did that. Like I had the monopod, I had the little cheap tripod, and then I get out the car and I'm like, oh shit.
Hey, it happens.
You was drinking the night before. That's what it was, man. I'd have told on him. Apparently A1, your name is now homie with the crispy videos.
I'll take that.
Man, I will say this, man. This has been a super dope episode, man. Again, it's been great having y'all on here. The information and the knowledge that you guys have shared has been super, super awesome for me. And I'm pretty sure it's been awesome for all of our listeners, man. You guys keep on looking out for their videos, man. Y'all let them into these games. Stop being stingy. All right. And then what they gonna do is they gonna help y'all out with y'all media team, getting y'all started and all that kind of stuff. They gonna collaborate. That's what it's about. It's a collaboration, man. Also, please make sure y'all join us next week. Next week's topic: trumpets. We talking trumpets. As a trumpet player, look, I'm gonna tell you like this. This video from my year at Norfolk State when we smashed Howard in the street at Howard has been circulating again. So first of all, I just want to say thank y'all for showing this legendary video of myself and the rest of my Dizziac family kicking butt once again.
Thank you whoever recorded that, because I remember watching that in high school.
So very quick story about that game. 2 years prior, Howard came to Norfolk. This was when Brass Council had numbers. Howard came to Norfolk, and we were going at it in the stands, but apparently the two section leaders were talking crap to each other. So Sebring and the section leader from Brass Council. So they was like, yeah, we gonna see, blah, 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 blah. After the game, Brass Council lined up behind our what we call the rat trap at Norfolk. Sebring, after we got out of the game, we were supposed to march into the band room, sit down, and be dismissed. No, Sebring marched through the band room, out the back, through the rat trap, and we blocked up right there and was going against Brass Council. Well, we weren't supposed to do that, and we got in trouble for it. Specifically, Sebring got in trouble for it. So Dr. Zachary set it up so that we would finally get the battle that we were supposed to get at Howard the next year. And so that's how that video ended up happening. And it was a lovely day. It just was a lovely day. Now, I will also say this, that there weren't, I will go and say, I don't know what section got us during my time. So I don't even think that ever happened. But as I told one of my old PV kids, there's really a lot of footage of us. It's just on lockdown. So I'm gonna try to see. I'm gonna pray to the band guys to see if I can get some of that footage released very soon. But nonetheless, we're talking trumpets on next week. It's gonna be myself and a panel of trumpets on here. We're gonna talk about, are the trumpets on the downfall? I don't know.
Are the trumpets getting swallowed?
Yeah, that's what the conversation gonna be. So, man, y'all stick with us until next week, man. Again, this has been a great episode. It feels good to be back, and we will see you all on next week.